So welcome our guest indeed. As you've seen that Dr. Lloyd joins us here now. He's a former member of the Rivers House of Assembly. He's a lecturer, Faculty of Law, UNN, and he's also a development analyst. Good morning. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you, Chamberlain.
Well, last week, many...
I'd like to correct that. I was a former teacher at the
UNN.
UNEC. That's what it is called.
Okay, that's Enugu campus.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So this matter in Rivers, the comments made by the former governor, Dr. Peter Odili, about the current governor, who he said is the leader of the party, and as such people expect several other things to follow. But your group also held the meeting at the time and also tried to rally everyone in the same breath. So many just see that as clearly a divided camp.
No, Chamberlain, I'd like to say this to you clearly, that the camp in Rivers State is not divided. We are one strong family under the leadership. You asked the question, can I finish? Under the leadership of the Minister for Federal Capital Territory. You recall that at several fora, the governor of Rivers State has referred to the Minister of FCT as his Oga, and nothing has changed. You see, what is going on in Rivers State is very unfortunate, that a lot of internally displaced politicians who do not have the guts to face the minister have become suddenly envious of the rising profile of the minister. And have come in, they have launched a very vicious attack on our political family. That is why you see them move from Sunday to Sunday, they are crisscrossing local government areas in the state, rather than allow the governor to deliver on his campaign promises. And also you must recall, Chamberlain, that the governor rode on the campaign mantra, consolidation and continuity. Because it's a family. And this was what we all thought. As a local government chairman, that I am now in Rivers State, the former governor, who by the grace of God is the Minister of FCT today, made all of us campaign coordinators for the Fubara, for the Governor Fubara elections. And ditto for all other positions that were contested in 2013. Recall that what you see now, people holding Thanksgivings, which of course was not synchronized with what the provisions of the Bible in Genesis chapter 4, verse 3. Recall that Cain and Abel gave offerings, right? Abel gave the offering of the firstborn of the lamb, and God accepted Abel's offering. Whereas Cain went and put together a group of assorted fruits, and of course God didn't take that. So if you're going to equity, you must go with clean hands, as simple as that. So
the group that you attended the meeting, and you...
That's the stakeholders meeting of my local government.
Stakeholders of local government.
Yes, stakeholders of our local government. What we did was what we are taught to do. We are taught to show gratitude to whoever does us good. It was merely a meeting of saying thank you to Mr. President for appointing one of our own and our leader, Minister of FCT. Recall that we are members of the People's Democratic Party. And for the president to have the largeness of heart to make, for the first time, a Southerner would sit on that position as Minister of the FCT. And to the glory of God, I hear from people, I do the devil's advocate. I go into taxis in Abuja here, and the echoes are all around as to the performance of the...
So it was not out of place for you not to be in the meeting where Dr. Peter Odili was?
No. What happened there, with due respect to Dr. Peter Odili, like he said, they were commissioning a cottage hospital. And from what the former governor had said, he didn't even invite the incumbent governor. So it was not as if our own stakeholders meeting was done in order to spite. No, these were events that were scheduled differently.
So do you consider Dr. Peter Odili as, you said, politically internally displaced politicians or something?
No, I haven't said so. I can't refer to Dr. Peter Odili as an internally displaced politician. I haven't seen him in any of those Thanksgiving rallies and all that. So I can't in good sense referred to him as IGP.
But
he's our great-grandfather.
But many who saw and heard him say that the governor is the political leader, some of them automatically think that every other rally or whatever directive or whatever allegiance should be to him.
No, it doesn't work that way. What the former governor expressed is his own what he feels. Okay, no probative value can be added to that because he's not talking as national chairman of the People's Democratic Party. Okay, and you know that membership of a political party comes with responsibility. You would have paid your dues. You would have paid your dues up to date, and you would have been attending meetings of that political party. So with due respect, what happened in Ndoni was an expression of how a man feels. And you know, like I said, I came to this studio with a book authored by Dr. Peter Odili, our great-grandfather. This is History and Conscience. And in this book, the former governor copiously captured all the, when he left as governor, even those, the first time I read this book, I saw myself shedding tears towards the end of the book. How a good man can be vilified all of a sudden. How a man who had become golden governor of Nigeria can suddenly not have friends again, all by himself. So in that solitude, he put together this book. And on page 434, I'd like to read if you permit me. He said that is the axiom that you never really know a man until he has power and money. He said this axiom came truly alive since my period out of office in May 29 of 2007. So that is what you see. It does appear that it is a recurring decimal, that when people leave office, even those who hang the photographs of such persons in their various sitting rooms, all of a sudden begin to vilify the person. I ordinarily did not think, would not have thought that former Governor Nyesom Wike will all of a sudden become the devil himself today. This was a man, in 4 years, he delivered 12 bridges, built a cardiovascular hospital that was named after our revered Dr.
So what's the bone of contention then? That's
what I'm saying. I did say here in my opening speech that there is a vicious attack by politicians who are displaced, right? To come back, to see how they can cause pandemonium in the family. And it does appear they are succeeding. Because what we should be talking now in Rivers State should be development. The way it is going on in Abia, the way it is going on in Enugu, and several in Delta. And recall, people, every Sunday, what we have in Rivers State is Thanksgiving. There was no threat to our election. It wasn't annulled. The results of our elections was not annulled. The Supreme Court upheld the mandate of the people, which we gave to the governor freely, under the direction of the Minister for FCT. He was at the forefront of that campaign. And I'm sure that your organization covered most of those events.
Oh, Dr. Lloyd, it's good to see you again. I mean, I haven't had the privilege of having an interview with you after so many years. And it's interesting, I was still talking about Rivers politics. So let me, first of all, let's start with what you've I think what has sparked, new conversation around Rivers is the comment of the former governor, a man whom we have now referred to as the great-grandfather, as your great-grandfather in Rivers State of politics. And his comments were highly significant, according to a lot of people, when he says, you are the leader of the party in Rivers State. Some people felt that that was not just his opinion, that was his endorsement of what position he believes the governor occupies, contrary to, all the other calculations that were happening in the state. That's basically what he seems to be saying. And coming from someone like him, who was also quite close to the former governor, the immediate past governor, when he was in office, people felt that this was a most, how will I put it now, a most certain or unambiguous endorsement of the position he believes that the governor should be occupying.
But let me quickly remind you that this is April, right?
Indeed.
This is April. We just finished elections. This is not the time for endorsements. And what our great-grandfather had said about the incumbent governor, he had also said about the minister of the FCT. As a scholar, I like to be prepared when I craft interviews. Here, Odili hails Wike as treasure whom enemies of progress denied Nigeria.
What year was that?
This was politics. This is actually channels. Sorry. This is actually channels. I went online and
yes, but you didn't see the date.
You can look at it.
And it doesn't say anything about him being the political leader.
Hold on. Let me say it. I'm just doing this so that you know. So that the point I'm making is that at one point or the other, Sir Dr. Peter Odili had also said at different fora that Governor Nyesom Wike had surpassed him as governor when he was governor. This was said in his 74th birthday.
Yes.
Yeah, this is
Governor Wike was still in office there, wasn't
he? That's what I'm saying. That's the point. You see, it does appear that whoever is in office is told the same story. I hate to discuss when it comes to very revered elders like this. You know, the things I would want, I ordinarily would have said, I'm careful not to say them. What one expects, like what I have been praying, as a Catholic knight that I am, is for our great-grandfather to call two of his sons in a room and ask them not to do to sheath their sword, if at all there is any. We watched on TV what the Tortiv did with the SGF and the governor. That's what elders do. That is what I think elders should do. And not to come and dangerously take sides. And polarize the state unnecessarily. You
have said that, you know, this, what's the name, that this is not political, this is not a...
No, that endorsement in Indoni actually...
But we know that even before, I mean, before an election season, we know that there must be a leader of a political party in a state. And traditionally, it has been recognized that the governor of a state is usually the leader of the political party in a state. Are you denying the current governor that?
Can you refer me to any instant law in the People's Democratic Party that confers leadership on the governor? Can you refer me? I like to learn.
Is it a law or is it a tradition?
And that's what I'm saying. What is tradition to you may not be tradition to me. And of course, you know, the leaders don't choose their followers. Followers choose their leaders.
So you do agree that indeed there is a bone of contention and it's for that position of leadership?
No. You see, that's the problem. Like you said, until the statement was made and done by our great-grandfather, there wasn't an issue, right? And it happened. The reason why Chamberlain called me was because at about the same time, some of our people were holding a meeting where we clearly were saying thank you to Mr. President. And of course, thanking him for appointing our leader.
It is interesting that in that same meeting, former chief of staff to the immediate past governor was also there in that meeting. He's a current commissioner in the state.
Without a portfolio yet?
Without a portfolio.
Yes.
Well, he was in that same meeting and he was talking about how he said, oh, they will say Wike did this, Wike did that. Is it the governor? Is it the current governor? And people were, you know, wondering, you know, when that sort of statement is made, people are wondering where does his loyalty lie? Is it with the current governor or is it with the immediate past governor?
Now, but you see, we have become so used to abnormalities. We have become so used to cowing people. So if I'm in a system and I see something going wrong, I shouldn't say. Is that loyalty? That to my mind, is blind loyalty.
Yeah, but if people are saying
that the statement he made, albeit that I'm not holding brief for him, is born out of a certain Chief David Briggs, who was the chairman of the Senior Secondary Schools Board under former Governor Nyesom Wike. He was one of those who usually run around in those black buses that UK used to convey the leaders of the state when he was governor. He made a statement someday and they said that the Dr. Peter Odili Cardiovascular Hospital isn't working. And that Julius Beja is incompetent. And now the former chief of staff says, okay, at least a man has conceptualized the idea, brought in Simons, one of those who construct one of the world's best in the construction of hospital equipment. All that has been put in place in the hospital. Now he's no longer governor. If there are issues that are impeding the takeoff of the hospital, this administration should do it. That is what he meant, because we rode on the mantra of consolidation and continuity. It didn't mean any disrespect.
Well, I know my colleague Ayo has questions for you.
Thank you, Malkwe. Well, Mr. Lloyd, it's very interesting, this conversation that we are having, particularly in the light of the political situation, so to speak. Let me reiterate Malkwe's question, first of all. There's been a lot of talk about the politics in River State. Do you think there is a problem, or even as much as a little disagreement?
Absolutely. It is audible to the deaf and visible to the blind. But meanwhile, Ayo, I like your tie.
Okay, well, unfortunately, you can't wear a tie on what you're wearing now. Well, you know, the interesting thing in all of this conversation, Mr. Lloyd, is if there is a problem, what then is the problem? There are those who allege that maybe because of some broken promises here and there, and some loyalty to one person as opposed to someone else. Can you give us an idea of what the genesis of the challenge in River State today is and how it came to be what it is today?
Well, Ayo, in as much as I would have loved to give you the answer to that question, unfortunately, I'm neither the incumbent governor nor the past governor. But what I can tell you for today is that nothing seems to work. The state is on a standstill. Forget about what you see, the razzmatazz that you see going on. Nothing is happening. The State Assembly is on the one side, doing its legitimate business of lawmaking, amendment, and so on and so forth, which is within their rights to do. And we see that part of the political resolution to this issue that was brokered by Mr. President was that the budget should be represented. And here we are in June, we are in April. River State doesn't seem to have a budget yet. So you can't say things are going on normally. For instance, I'm a local government chairman. There is a mutual distrust now that has been fed into the system. A situation where instructions are given to the heads of local government areas and treasurers to come and implement in a council that has a democratically elected local government chairman. We cannot meet with the governor because he considers nearly all of us enemies. So I hear they are conducting promotions in the state. The chairman of council are not aware. We are only told, they tell the local government, first and foremost, it is the Local Government Service Commission that conducts promotion. Now, we don't have one. We have someone who is acting illegally in that office as acting chairman. And the constitution is clear.
Doesn't that names? Yeah. My apologies, Mr. Lloyd, if you can hear me. Doesn't that also indict the former governor in a way? Because there are those who have said over and over again, local governments ought to be autonomous, ought to be able to perform their own responsibilities. without the influence of the governor at any point in time. The understanding a number of people have gone with over the years is that the local government system in Rivers State was autonomous financially and administratively. What you're telling us now is that that is not the case. Since when did this become?
I don't see how the former governor will be indicted. This conversation wasn't there when the former governor held sway. And I can tell you authoritatively, I've been chairman of council for going to 3 years now. From 2021, June 17th, I was sworn in. And while we were chairman, former Governor Nyesom Wike was in office. And I mean, we didn't have this kind of conversation. A situation where our monies will be seized and we'll be told to go and submit papers from here to there. It is inimical to the system. Now, a lot of bad blood has been injected into the system. I can't function.
No, Mr. Lloyd, so perhaps the question to ask.
Yes, as plausible.
Yeah.
Ayo, just hold on a second. As plausible as the idea of promoting staff is, but I think that the best thing to do is to follow it legally. If you are going to equity, you must go with clean hands.
Main challenge is to even be clear, Mr. Lloyd. Is it a political tiff we have, or an economic challenge, or a governance problem? What exactly would you bring it all down to? All these things happening in Rivers is a governance problem. Now, how come, if it's a governance problem, then we can easily say that the former governor, Nyesom Wike, has nothing to do with it. But his name is very, very prominent in all of this conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The reason his name is prominent is because he led the state at the time and midwifed the election of the incumbent governor. So there is no way you can talk about Rivers State and not talk about former Governor Nyesom Wike, whose followership in the state are likened to the followership of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Okay. It is not about how many tar you pour at the man. It's not. Okay. There is a man Lloyd, who believes in equity.
Yeah. If it is not a political struggle, how come it involved the president? How come the president invited the two political juggernauts in a state if it has nothing to do with politics?
Ayo, what happened was, you recall that then impeachment notice had been served to the governor and so on. Then the governor sought the intervention of Mr. President. And we all attended the meeting as stakeholders. And an 8-point agenda was reached, which was read, with due respect, by former Governor Peter Odili. The president, as much as gave him the document to read. And after reading, the president, for each one, I remember vividly, he asked, do you agree? And the stakeholders will say yes. Then at the end of the reading of the items therein, signatures were appended to the document. Then all of a sudden, we start hearing, oh, the president does not have powers to intervene. Oh, it is a constitutional problem. Oh, the House of Assembly, they are mere robots. If they are mere robots, it is not in your place to say. It will be decided in the law courts. But you see, a lot of people who were displaced, that was why I told you initially, have come up now to say, okay, this is our chance. And are giving the system bad air.
So, Mr. Lloyd, at the heart of this...
cruising at this time. We ought to be...
Just 1 second, if you can hear me. At the heart of this challenge, from what you're saying, it seems like the major challenge right now is that the governor has not represented the budget. Is that correct?
Well, that could be one of all of the issues that are going on. You know, what I see is that the governor says a different thing and does a different thing, with due respect. You know, and when you allow people, hangers on, to use the occasion of the Thanksgiving to begin to cast aspersions on your former principal. So, and you think supporters of Nyesom Wike will not react in any way? The other day, I saw an elder statesman on TV, Chief Fabien Sekebo, issuing threats of beating the threats of war. They would not allow the former minister to have his way in this state, and so on and so on and so forth. We know the antecedents of all of this. Some of these elders.
Let me just quickly ask you.
We know what they do, how they turn their places into.
Well, some people
no one has monopoly of violence.
Well, I remember that, we spoke with, we had a conversation with, I'm trying to remember her name, Ms. Ankyo Briggs.
Okay, Auntie Anne.
Yeah, and she spoke and she said, look, when people speak from political points of view, they're entitled to hold their political ideas, but if they're within political parties, then they are political elders within their parties.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, we can't begrudge them that. But I want to ask you quickly, who do you consider the leader of the PDP in River State?
Chief Barrister Ezenwo Nyesom Wike, Minister for the Federal Capital Territory.
That is the leader of the PDP?
That's the leader of the People's Democratic Party. And he didn't just become leader. You recall, you were all here when the PDP, during the days of Alimodu Sheriff, you recall what happened. There were those when the PDP had already nearly become decimated. There were people who stood. Leadership is not just earned as a result of the position you occupy. I don't think so. I don't think that is the issue. Were it so, it would have been enshrined in our constitution that when once you become a governor of a state, you mutatis mutandis become the leader of the party in the state. But that's not what.
So you disagree with the great-grandfather?
Absolutely. I am entitled to my own opinion.
What's the solution to this issue?
Prayer.
The struggle.
Prayer.
Prayer?
Yes. What God cannot do does not exist.
I rest my case in that case. I cannot challenge God. That Dr. Chidi Lloyd is a former member of the Rivers State House of Assembly, is a current local government chairman and former lecturer, UNEC. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Timberlake. It's always a pleasure talking with you.
So that is the show today. We thank you all for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain, so goodbye.
I expect that you have your comments. Please send them in. Thank you so much for watching. I'm
Not against God, though.
Certainly not.
And I'm Ayamaki. Do have a wonderful day and a beautiful week.